rolled our eyes, but elsewhere in the hall hands gripped other hands, and snuffles were heard as we were urged to cherish the friendships we'd made, the friendships that would last a lifetime. "A lifetime? Christ, I hope not," said Fox, locking my head beneath his arm, fondly rubbing his knuckles there. It was prize-giving time, and we sank low in our chairs. Prizes were awarded to the kids who always got the prizes, applause fading long before they'd left the stage to stand in front of the photographer from the local press, book tokens held beneath the chin, as if in an ID parade. We sank lower in our chairs until horizontal, then, when it was over, we shuffled out to have our photo taken. But I realise how absent I am from the above. I remember the day well enough, even across 20 years, but when I try to describe my role, I find myself reaching for what I saw and heard rather than anything I said or did. "What were you like?" my future wife would later ask, before we met. And I'd struggle to reply. As a student, my distinctive feature was a lack of distinction. Charlie works hard to meet basic standards and, for the most part, achieves them. This was as good as it got, and even that slight reputation had been dimmed by events of the exam season. Not admired, but not despised. Not adored, but not feared. I was not a bully, though I knew a fair few, but did not intervene or place myself between the pack and the victim, because I wasn't brave either. I neither conformed nor rebelled, collaborated nor resisted. I stayed out of trouble without getting into anything else. Comedy was our great currency, and while I was not a class clown, neither was I witless. I might occasionally get a surprised laugh from the crowd, but my best jokes were either drowned out by someone with a louder voice, or came far too late, so that even now, more than 20 years later, I think of things I should have said in 96 or 97. I knew that I was not ugly, someone would have told me, and was vaguely aware of whispers and giggles from huddles of girls, but what use was this to someone with no idea what to say? I'd inherited height, and only height, from my father. My eyes, nose, teeth and mouth from Mum, the right way round, said Dad. But I'd also inherited his tendency to stoop and round my shoulders in order to take up less space in the world. Some lucky quirk of glands and hormones meant that I'd been spared the pulsing spots and boils that literally scarred so many adolescences, and I was neither skinny with anxiety nor plump with the chips and canned drinks that fueled us, but I wasn't confident about my appearance. I wasn't confident about anything at all. Soon it would be time for my friends and me to settle into some role we might plausibly fit, but when I tried to see myself as others saw me, sometimes literally, late at night, staring profoundly into my father's shaving mirror, hair slicked back, I saw nothing special. In photos of myself from that time, I'm reminded of those early incarnations of a cartoon character, the prototypes that resemble the later version, but are in some way out of proportion, not quite right. None of which is much help. Imagine, then, another photograph, the school group shot that everybody owns, faces too small to make out without peering closely. Whether it's 5 or 50 years old, there's always a vaguely familiar figure in the middle row, someone with no anecdotes or associations, scandals or triumphs to their name. You wonder, who was that? That's Charlie Lewis. Sawdust. The end-of-year disco had a reputation for Roman levels of depravity, second only to the biology field trip. Our arena was the sports hall, a space large enough to comfortably contain a passenger jet. To create an illusion of intimacy, ancient bunting had been strung between the wall bars, and a mirror ball dangled from a chain like a medieval flail, but still the space seemed exposed and barren. And for the first 3 songs we lined up on benches, eyeing each other across the scuffed, dusty parquet like warriors across the field of battle.